containing 3,500-year-old skeletons, Canaanite skeletons, buried with their grave goods, connecting the people of Jericho to a wider world, to a real Canaanite culture whose cities once spread across modern-day Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and Jordan. But there's much more to the historical Canaanites than the Bible reveals, according to archaeologist Jonathan Tubb.
I think that a lot of people who have followed the biblical view, if you like, see the Canaanites as wicked, evil people. They're not at all. They're very urbane, sophisticated people. And we know this from the examples of jewellery, metalwork, even the very basic pots and pans of daily life, which were often very refined. They enjoyed the good things in life.
What's more, archaeology has revealed that the Canaanites were the first people to use an alphabet, a 40-letter system that replaced the ancient sign language known as cuneiform and led to the form of writing we use today. The Canaanites were even great traders, influenced by other civilizations as far away as Greece and Egypt.
Some of the jewellery is very beautiful. This one's interesting because it's in the form of a lotus bud, showing that strong Egyptian influence.
The story leaves out these positive details. It's not surprising. In the Bible, the Canaanites are the Israelites' sworn enemies. Joshua's spies would have had much to report. But, like many military operations, their mission was compromised. The Bible records how Jericho's governor heard that the prostitute, called Rahab, was sheltering the spies.
The head of Jericho would try and find these spies wherever they might have been. Why he knows or thinks that they're at Rahab's place, but I imagine he had his own intelligence gathering force.
According to the story, Rahab faced a stark choice: to hand the spies over to torture and death, or turn traitor and protect them.
She tells the spies that she knows that Israel will conquer the land. She knows that God has promised the land to them. And Rahab takes charge of the whole situation. She hides the spies in the stalks of grain on her roof.
Moments later, Canaanite soldiers arrive. But Rahab managed to convince them that the spies had already left and sent the soldiers off to find them. Before she helped the spies escape, Rahab made them promise to protect her and her family in the coming battle. The spies agreed and returned to the Israelite camp. Up to this point, archaeology and military strategy are remarkably consistent with the Bible's build-up to the battle. But at the heart of the story is Joshua's advance on Jericho and his use of trumpets to conquer the city. According to the Bible, Joshua's first tactic was to cross the River Jordan and establish a bridgehead on the west bank, within a mile of his target. What he did next must have surprised everyone. Rather than march towards Jericho, he ordered his troops to march around it. Once a day for 6 days, accompanied by priests blowing trumpets. This is a strange tactic. Perhaps here fact gives way to fiction. Or maybe not. History records how other armies used the same strategy.
We know the Romans upon occasion, would tend to, say, march up to a city and march away again. They march up and away and up and away, and basically lull the inhabitants into a false sense of security when they didn't know what was going to happen. Then all of a sudden, boom, in they go.
So marching around Jericho may make sense, but the purpose of the accompanying trumpets remains a mystery. Unless a clue lies here, in this synagogue. The Jewish religion traces its roots back to the early Israelites, and trumpets still feature in its rituals today. But not the modern trumpet as we know it. According to musician Alan Friedman,
this would be the type of horn that the priests at Jericho would have blown. This is the horn of a mountain goat, also known as a ram.
the ram's horn trumpet is of particular interest to audio consultant David Lubman. He's an expert in the role of sound in ancient religion, and especially interested in the Joshua story. Today he's working with Friedman to conduct a precise audio analysis of the trumpet. Hopeful it will shed light on its role in the battle. Back at his lab, Lubman analyzes his results. He knows only too well that sound can have a military use. During the Vietnam War, the American Army recruited Lubman to build an audio test chamber where they could recreate high-intensity sound levels. Once, an experiment went wrong. A seal on the test chamber failed, noise leaked out, with dramatic consequences for one lab technician.
One of the technicians, perfectly sane and stable, upon hearing the sound, was set into flight. He ran away, and in terror, and he didn't come back for hours that day. We didn't want to say anything to him, but such was the power to frighten and to create a sense of awe.
So perhaps the sound of the trumpet also had a psychological effect. It's certainly loud.
We're getting about 93 or 94 decibels of sound intensity when I measure 9 feet from one shofar. And if we had 7 shofars, then that would be 93 plus 8.5 decibels higher. That's the sort of levels that you'd expect to hear at a rock concert.
So it could be that Joshua did use the trumpet, not as a musical instrument, but as a weapon.
I think sound does play a very prominent role in the book of Joshua to create a sense of shock and awe.
But according to the Bible, Joshua didn't just rely on trumpets to create shock and awe. A siege like this could drag on for years. But just 1 week into Joshua's attack, the battle reached its climax. On the 7th day, the Israelites circled the city, not once, but 7 times. Then all 40,000 soldiers let out a deafening battle cry.
Think of it in terms of somebody inside Jericho. You're watching these people for a week now. All of a sudden, they're shrieking, they're shouting. Just at the time when you need to talk to your other people to, watch out, here they come, you can't hear yourself think, let alone say anything. The Israelites, on the other hand, knew exactly what they're doing. They have no need to talk. So the din would have been just ear-shattering.
It's at this point the Bible makes its most spectacular claim. That the ever-increasing din brought the mud brick walls of Jericho crashing down, allowing Joshua's troops to clamber up the fallen city walls, to attack Canaanite soldiers, and, the Bible claims, to massacre everyone inside. Apart from Rahab and her family, all of Jericho's inhabitants were killed. And their once mighty city set alight. But while sound might have terrified and confused the inhabitants of Jericho, it couldn't have